Hi guys, the episode that you're just about to listen to is generously sponsored by our affiliates Board Game Crate. Board Game Crate provide a monthly subscription service where they get fresh new games delivered straight to your door. Just head over to www.boardgamecrate.co.uk, and furthermore, if you use our discount code UnluckyFrogIsAwesome, all lowercase, all one word, you'll get a cheeky little discount. It's easy to remember because it's true. Hello and welcome to the Unlucky Frog Gaming Podcast Independence Day. You are joined by your usual hosts here, Josh Hartley and Ben Porter. Ben, how are we doing?
I'm doing very well. We do have a guest.
We do. I was about to introduce Dave. Yeah. Hello, Dave.
Hello, guys. How you doing?
Got Dave. Did we settle down on your title over Tabletop Scotland?
Well, I think it's still unofficially Convention Overlord. But yeah,
if you must acknowledge me as Overlord.
I'm sure other people labelled me that, not me myself.
Yeah.
But we're not doing anything to detract from it.
No, I'm quite comfortable with that moniker. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can neither confirm nor deny that Dave started that one off.
So yes, Dave, hello, and thank you very much for coming on the show. So we are going to have a bit of a chat about Tabletop Scotland 2019. Which is, of course, going to be coming up next year. But before we dive into anything along those lines, we thought it might be a good, now that the dust has settled a bit after the first year of the convention, just what your thoughts are, how you felt it all went, and yeah, a little bit of a retrospective.
Yeah. Well, going into it, it was one of these things where we'd done all the prep. We open the doors and people come in and see what happens, because by that stage, you've done everything you can, really. But the event itself, I think everything went pretty much to clockwork, apart from the bringing by being under-resourced and too long a queue, but never mind. No one really moaned that much. But overall, I thought it went really well. I think I'm finally relaxed about 3 o'clock on the Sunday, or maybe slightly earlier on that through fatigue. But no, it went really well. Everyone seemed to have a really positive experience. The atmosphere was really good. It was very relaxed. The mixture of people we had there, with so many families there, which was fantastic. And lots of people engaging with the hobby for the first time as well, which was great to see. Our Gateway area in particular was really busy. But yeah, I think everything worked. And there's nothing I can put my finger on that I'm unhappy about over the weekend, which is a good thing. I don't want to focus on a negative because there isn't one in my head. But
just for the benefit of the tape, it's very, very unusual for Dave to say that. So that means that things went really well, everyone.
You've obviously been spending far too much time with me, Ben. It's true, in fact. I do tend to look for something to improve upon. And that doesn't mean we won't be improving on things. It just, there's nothing negative to really look at and go, that was a problem. Let's see how we fix that.
No, but that is a good thing. And going back to your point of how great it was to see, first timers and families there, that's something that struck us while we were at we're in attendance over the weekend. Just the sheer number of families with children of all different ages as well, getting really into the hobby as well, which is fantastic.
Yeah. Well, and we've been to. We're not convention veterans by any stretch, but we've been to a few, and we've been to conventions of different sizes with slightly different focus. But I think that although Tabletop Scotland maybe wasn't the biggest convention we've been to, I think that there seemed to be a bit more of a concentration of families than some of the other conventions I've been to.
And I think that's accurate, because it felt well, it felt very family orientated, and we kind of went into it wanting that, and to get that kind of response was great. I mean, you're right. A lot of conventions, and it's not a negative against them, but a lot of conventions focus on the existing gamer, and the service that need. We deliberately wanted to target both family and new gamers, or even relatively new gamers who just wanted to experience the hobby a bit more. And our exhibitor list kind of matched that as well, which worked really well. In fact, I haven't mentioned them yet. They were all great. Every single one of them were fantastic throughout the weekend. They all had a really good weekend, just as an experience and commercially. So that's fantastic. Just seeing, I suppose, in some respects, the fact that they had a good weekend commercially is really important, because it makes it worth their while as well, and then they want to come back, which is great.
Yeah, that's that's fantastic to hear. So, before we perhaps look ahead, did you? I believe you've gathered a bit of feedback on last year's convention. It was this year's convention.
I know. The number of times I keep saying last year, and it's actually still 2018. I mean, it's only been 3 months, which is still quite scary that it's only been 3 months. So we did a feedback survey, which went out to everyone in the newsletter and was linked through the various social media channels, and it kind of echoed what I've just said. The overriding feeling was it was really well run, everything went according to plan. Some niggles with the bring and buy, but that we kind of half expected, but we just ended up throwing more bodies at it basically to keep it going. There was some interesting feedback in amongst it all. One in particular, their main piece of feedback was that they don't like Perth as a place, which I obviously can't do anything about that. That's where the convention is.
I demand you change the city of Perth.
Well, what we could do is we could get like a series of airships and then interlink them with like rope bridges, and then just have it hover over the city of Perth. So
it's like some sort of sky fortress.
Yeah, like a sky convention flotilla.
Weakness in that plan. I'm scared of heights, so that wouldn't work for me.
There we go. We go.
That's probably why I rolled it out, actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah.
We could have had the convention that was on Bowser's airship from Mario Brothers 3.
Almost reached a compromise for this guy as well.
Yeah, this one person.
I tell you, I'm devastated that we've not found a solution for this guy.
Well, we won't have one for 2019 either, for that matter. A solution for that. The other kind of interesting piece of, well, not so much feedback, it was the one that we did through a Facebook poll recently, is roughly 65% of all of the attendees, this was the first ever games convention they've been to, which both surprises me and doesn't. It surprises me because I didn't realise we had that kind of reach, but at the same time, it doesn't surprise me because we deliberately went after that kind of audience. So great.
Yeah. Do you think that that is an indicator that there's still growth in the industry and hobby? Because I know people are thinking that it's starting to drop off a bit, especially in the wake of Cool Mini or Not's recent financial report. What do you think?
That's a good one. No, I don't think it's necessarily an indicator of continued growth. I think all we've done is engage with, for one better phrase, I keep using the word hobby, but I'll use the word community this time. The Scottish tabletop community, in a very direct manner. I've been, certainly by a number of people, have been claimed of spamming Facebook groups and things like that, but it was really, it might have just been that the existing convention scene in Scotland didn't engage with them. So they just didn't know it was there, or they didn't engage with them hard enough to make them want to go. And whilst, people like ourselves are quite happy to go south of the border for a convention, not everyone is. certainly not those north of Scotland, the very north of Scotland. That's significantly further trek than what we would have. So is there more growth to come? I expect there is, because much like a number of exhibitors who didn't come in 2018, but may come in 2019, I suspect a lot of the community were on the fence, waiting to see what our event was like, which is perfectly acceptable, because I probably would have been the same. But there's an expectation. That's the wrong word. There's what's the word I'm looking for? There's a hope that they come along in 2019 and see the event in all its glory, which would be great, just to get a little bit more of a wider community. Because 65% of our attendees, this was their first convention. I suspect that some of them will now be thinking about going to others as a direct result.
And that's a great thing in of itself. And you touched on it there, what you were talking about. One of the things that struck me was, the decision to host the convention at Perth. That probably feeds a lot into the 65% of people.
It's probably the most central city in Scotland.
Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's probably plenty of smaller conventions that go on all across the country, but for a convention of this size, it's probably the first time that it's been within easier reach, or outside the central belt anyway.
Yeah, and okay, we had the comment about it's in Perth, but at the same time we had that as a positive as well from a lot of people, because it wasn't in Glasgow or Edinburgh, so therefore those coming from the north, it was very easy to get to because the road and rail network.
Yeah, I dare say it was more a positive from the feedback than it was a negative.
Oh, absolutely. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I just thought that one there just kind of stuck out as, wait a minute, we can't do it now.
This is a little unreasonable.
Obviously, that person has been scarred by a previous experience in Perth. Hopefully, we've helped mend those wounds.
Yeah, an ex-wife or something in Perth, maybe.
I was trying to think what would be a very stereotypical bad thing to happen to someone in Perth, but I don't know, Perth seems
quite a nice
town.
Yeah.
Stampede of sheep, maybe.
Maybe not in Perth city centre.
Yeah, but no, probably not.
Maybe he was so happy in Perth that he came full circle.
Maybe.
He achieved a state of nirvana and then became suddenly depressed.
And that happened to him in Perth, so that stayed with him and traumatized him.
Just in the middle of the town centre, see this guy fall to his knees, just go, no!
It's like, you know the feeling you get when you've really enjoyed a film or a book and then it's over?
No,
maybe that's what he had.
Oh, right, okay.
And he can never go back to Perth now.
It's just, that emotional trauma of it's over.
Yeah.
So to the survey member, my advice to you would be, don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened.
Have you got these things written down, Josh, by any chance?
No, I'm pretty sure that's one of these lame things you see on Facebook getting
I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
The Perth Tourist Board needs to get a T-shirt made like that.
There we go. So, let's look ahead to Tabletop Scotland 2019.
Well, before we I do have a question. You did say that everything went really well with 2018, and obviously there are going to be some changes for 2019. But if you could, is there anything from 2018 that you would have done differently, looking back now?
Yeah, we would have made a decision to have the bring-in by much earlier in the process and wouldn't have put it where it was. But then that would have meant we would have had to move something else. So hindsight, if we'd had more space, then we would have had it in a different place. But we didn't have the space. But going into 2019, we will. So that'll be different. Other than that, no, not really. I mean, we had various trials and tribulations getting there. Obviously, the games library and the saviour legend, Darius and his team coming up and saving us out of that situation.
He was thoroughly biased at wearing that T-shirt.
Yeah.
But that didn't impact on the weekend, and I think that, there were a couple of things that went wrong on the Friday, while we were doing setup and some other challenges, but ultimately none of them had any negative impact on the weekend itself, and that's the important thing. And would we change anything about the weekend itself? Yeah, but nothing that made me think, actually, we should have thought of that. We had some signage that we hadn't done properly. We had, if you really want me to be critical, I can, Ben, but
I'm sure you can.
And there are some things that we will tweak, but they're more process orientated rather than something fundamental.
Yeah, again, we thought it was really well organised, and we wouldn't change too much. However, of course,
we were involved in the stuff we would have done differently, and certainly it was a learning curve for us, I think.
But I think, and I take that on board. That there were challenges with everything we did, including obviously making sure that you guys had what you need from a PA system and all that kind of governance. But they were challenges because we haven't done this before as a group, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
So we did it,
and we're going to have them.
Yeah, we did it, and it happened, and it was a success. So
exactly.
I think as much as insofar as what we did, although I'm quite critical of that.
Yes.
I think that it was a lot more successful than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I was really pleased with how it all turned out. So
I did not expect. What was it? Was it like about 70 or 80 people in the pub quiz?
And room D100 plus one as well. Me getting
that's the thing. When we talked about numbers for that. Even when we were laying out the chairs for room D100 plus one, we had no idea what level of attendance you'd get for those two events, right?
Yeah.
But that echoes with Bez's seminar on board game design and Michael and Pauline's seminar on accessibility. We had no idea what level of attendance to get for them, and as we know, the boardroom was absolutely packed for Bez's event.
Yes.
And almost as packed for Michael and Pauline's event. And it's kind of like, right, okay. There was a demand there we didn't know was going to be there. So how did we cater for that in 2019? Yeah. But I don't look upon them as negatives. They're just learning curves.
Exactly.
It got sweaty, but in a good way.
It got sweaty in general in the building. Because, we actually...
That's just conventions, folks.
Yeah, but I think for those who don't know, that in the other hall, they were trying to lay down ice for the curling, and we were actually, the heat from all the people in the building was causing that process to go slow. And so much so that condensation was building on the ceiling in the other hall, and it was dripping onto the ice and basically warping ice. So we've warped ice. That's how powerful gamers are.
Heat of 1,000 nerds.
Yep, exactly. There we go.
Fantastic.
So, 2019 then. What... I think when we were talking before we started the recording, bigger, better, louder. Do you think that could be a bit?
I don't know louder. although actually, now that I think about it probably will be. Yeah, I think the first thing to say there is the date.
Yes.
So we've brought the date forward by a week to the 24th and 25th of August, and it's still only 2 days. Even though we have a few people asking us to go to 3, and I'm like, no, not in year 2, please. We brought it forward for a couple of reasons. The main reason is that enables us to have more space, and precisely it doubles our floor space. So that's great because that gives us more options. It also means it ties in with the English bank holiday, which was part of the feedback we got from some south of the border attendees, that they couldn't do the whole weekend, or they'd have to leave on the Sunday early and stuff like that. So that enables us for next year to do, well, hopefully to attract more people in general.
Sure. I was just going to say you'll probably have some people who might be spending their weeks of holiday going up to Edinburgh to the festival, and then
exactly
cap it all off with a nice board game convention.
So,
yeah, there was one exhibitor who I'll not name tonight, but who is coming, but we don't have the paperwork done.
Mm-hmm.
Who their original plan was to come up the week before, do a week in Edinburgh for the Fringe, and then the week after they were going to tour up through the north of Scotland. But they completely forgot that their son's GCSE results are due on the Thursday before the convention, so they won't be able to do the Fringe. But hey, never mind. They're still coming anyway.
That's good. That's good. And of course, that extra space is being provided by the room that said ice rink is in. Indeed. Although it will not be ice.
It won't be an ice rink. There will be no ice anywhere on that floor. I can assure you of that. There will be on the Monday night, but not on the Saturday and Sunday.
I was kind of looking forward to like a human-sized game of ice cool.
I was just about to say the exact same thing. Yeah,
but no, for practical reasons, yes. Let's not put the ice on.
Not sure my insurance policy would cover us for that. I think so. The main approach to year 2 is the analogy I'm using is similar to a band's second album. Is do more of what you did before, maybe tweak a bit, but don't experiment too much. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of the underlying feeling for 2019. Also keeping in mind the fantastic kind of atmosphere, which was certainly a large part of the feedback of how friendly and relaxed it was. We want to obviously sustain that into 2019. We don't want to do anything that disrupts that in any way. So that's key.
Yeah.
I think the main bit, though, is we're doubling the floor space. So that gives us a lot more flexibility. It means we can move some things around within the building as well, namely the bring and buy. It will not be in the back cave as it became known. But yeah, I think that gives us a lot of options. Will I just rattle off stuff, or do you want to pause and ask specifics?
Well, let's just go for it.
Do the generation game, for Tabletop Scotland 2019.
Media partner, was that? Sorry, what was that, Ben?
Media partner. Who could possibly be appointed?
Well, as you know, there was a rigorous interview process.
Yes.
And yet your scorecard for 2018 was thoroughly reviewed by the whole team.
I heard the word exceptional was used.
That may have been Duncan talking about something he did, maybe. No, I'm joking. No, obviously we are delighted to confirm that Unlucky Frog Gaming have accepted the position of media partner for 2019.
Woo! Yeah.
And all that comes with that.
No, absolutely delighted to be asked back for next year, and more than happy to take up our mantle as media partners again.
We don't have anything to announce at the moment other than the return of the pub quiz.
Yes. The pub quiz is definitely going to be happening. Yeah.
But we are going to be doing some other things as well.
Yes. So along the lines of what is going to be new or returning to Tabletop Scotland 2019.
Besides the Unlucky Frog.
Yeah, which is obviously very important that you're returning.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Can we confirm any of the exhibitors?
So we recently announced the Tabletop Crafter, Kerry Hearn, and she'll be coming back. She was very keen to be the first to be announced.
I was going to say, I understand that she was really, really wanting to be the first one.
Yeah. So we are delighted to be able to announce her first.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the 2018 exhibitors are coming back. The ones that we can confirm, obviously, including Kerry and Tabletop Crafter, is so Haba will be back doing a bigger family zone.
Excellent.
There's doing a bit more again, and Asmodee will be back with their demo team, and again that'll be a bigger space they'll have. And I had a meeting with them last week to talk about the plans for that and how we can, well, leverage the size of Asmodee as an organisation to help us do a little bit more as well in general. And Coiledspring will be back with their demo team as well. Again, that'll be more space that they'll have for that. So the engagement stuff, rather than the open play in the exhibitors, will be there, and it'll be the same people, and it'll be more of them, which is fantastic. I was really, really pleased to be able to get them confirmed really early on. As I say, the majority of the 2018 exhibitors will be back as well. It's a paperwork thing. I'm a stickler for that, as is Duncan, actually. So we just need to make sure that we get all of that done and dusted before we announce any more.
Of course, yes.
And I think the other thing there is that a number of the exhibitors we spoke to about 2018, although I don't think they would use these words, but I think they were waiting to see how 2018 went before they would really want to talk to us. So what that's resulted in, thanks to some of the fantastic kind of, obviously the feedback we've had, but primarily the blog coverage from people like James Naylor and Ross from More Games Please and various other people, they've kind of gone, all right, okay, maybe we should be speaking to you for 2019. So that's a process that's probably going to drag. It feels like it's dragging, but it's just how long these things take. Yes. It's a process that will probably go into late January, early February before we'll really be able to confirm as many names as we would like. But we know, as I say, that the majority, and by that I mean probably one or two, maybe three that might not return. But that'll be for legitimate reasons. It's not because they don't like us.
Well, that's what they tell you. So.
Well,
don't plant seeds of doubt.
I mean, a couple of them did swear at me on the Friday night we were setting up because when we had our original conversations with them, let's just say the attendance was significantly less than what we originally forecast. Significantly more than what we originally forecast. So they'd worked on the basis that we'd have, I think, 450 in the case of one of them. And they were like, no, you lied to me. And I'm like, but in a good way.
It was a good lie.
Yeah.
It's a good lie. I set your expectations low. Of course, now they know what to expect, and that's slightly more pressure, shall we say. Yeah, but that's fine. That's what the first year was to prove it. The second year will be to develop it and grow it. So
galvanise it.
Yeah, and so exhibitor-wise, we expect the majority of them come back. We know we will have some others, and we're planning at the moment, and this is obviously subject to change, but we're planning to split the exhibitors across both halls and link them through the various openings between both halls, so that it's not like one hall's got the exhibitors in it and the other hall's got all the gamers in it, because that wouldn't work.
Yes.
So that's the plan at the moment. The floor plan is fluid as ever, but it's that's the current plan. Open play wise, I can't really, how would I put this? I didn't expect it to be as heaving at certain points in time. And it wasn't heaving as in sardines in a tin can heaving, but it was mobbed pretty much until about 10 o'clock Saturday night, something like that, which is great. That's exactly what we want.
Exactly.
So now we've seen that works. We can go, right, okay, we need more of that. So we will have significantly more of that, depending on various factors. Obviously, ticket sales and things like that will drive some of that. But we know we can fit a good kind of double, if not almost triple, number of people in the space, allowing for some, making sure we sustain the same space between tables and backs of chairs and all that to keep it comfortable. So open play wise, we've got scale that we can grow, which is great. That's what the space is for. There will be our tournaments will move downstairs. So tournament wise, we're still not sure what to do. The only two that we're really keen to have, but haven't had them 100% in black and white confirmed yet, but I'm happy to talk about them, is we will have an Our Pandemic survival event. the bit I can't confirm is whether it's going to be a UK national qualifier, although I've been told that verbally. It's just not in black and white yet.
Yep.
And the plan for that at the minute is, so in 2018 that was full, 12 teams, which was fantastic. And Kirsten and Kevin, who won that, will be going to UK Games Expo next year. They've never been to UK Games Expo before, so they're going to go down and compete in the UK Championships, which is cool. Mm-hmm. And we'll have 2 semi-finals on the Saturday, 12 teams in each, capacity-wise, and we'll have a final on the Sunday. That's the plan at the moment.
Yeah,
if there are changes, then fine, but that's the plan at the moment. Mm-hmm. And the other one is the Catan UK National Qualifier, and I've forgotten the gentleman's name who won that, Alan something. Apologies, Alan. But we're already speaking to Catan Studio about getting that confirmed, so I don't see any problems with that being confirmed.
Yeah.
Beyond that, we're looking for suggestions. We've opened up event submissions on the website, and it's really just give us some suggestions. We'll maybe ignore, let's just say, 8% of them, depending upon how many we get, because I don't want to have lots of tournaments. But let's see what we get, and the conversations we're having with Asmodee as well, we inform that, and Coiledspring for that matter. So yeah, there's options there, but by moving them downstairs, the RPG space gets a bit bigger,
much bigger.
So for those who were at Tabletop Scotland 2018, there was a room called the Ganachie, which is where Room Team 100+1 was. It's also where most of the tournaments were. And what we're going to do is we're going to move the RPGs from what was the Hay Room, so the not D&D RPGs. You need to think of a better word for that. And they'll move into the Ganachie. And we then, by essentially blending the Ganachie and the gallery, which is where the D&D Adventures League was, we essentially have a blended role-playing area, which could enable us to have more D&D tables, summing into the gallery, the Ganachie, but also really just enables us to have roughly 20 to 22 RPG tables per slot, which I think we had 14 on average. So it's roughly a 50% increase, which is great.
Excellent.
And we've already had submissions for that.
I was just going to say, you beat me to the punch. If people are wanting to organise a table, they just go on the website and submit their requests.
It's nice, well, because quite a few of the stories we heard relating to people getting into tabletop for the first time was people that rocked up to the RPG.
Yeah.
sections.
Yeah, I mean, you're just reminding me there, because you're right. There was a lot of people who, in fact, there's one particular example that I remember, which was a mother and daughter who, the mother used to play, the daughter wanted to try it, and they signed up. I don't think it was for the Epic. It might have been for the Epic, actually, I mentioned it. But rather than them sitting at the same table, Greg, who was organising all of that, split them up and put them on different tables. But that actually worked really well. They both of them had a great time, but we also had a lot of father-son kind of moments with the dad, who's a kind of returning gamer again, bringing his son along, and that again kind of emphasises the family dynamic of the event. So that was great to see. And in fact, all of the RPGs went really well. All the feedback we had on the RPGs was really good. And the Epic itself, Greg just seemed to be in heaven, being dressed up as I've forgotten the character's name, which he'll punch me for or something. But yeah, that just really went exceptionally well. And
my favorite story from the D&D Epic was the one table that found this book and decided to destroy it, which led the head GM announcing to the whole room, "Okay, no one can use magic again."
and that kind of meta or that mega game aspect of an epic is what makes it different as well.
Yeah.
It was even the fact that there was a group of guys in Glasgow who go to West End Games who basically hothoused their characters to get them up to a high enough level for us to have a tier 4 table. So they were literally playing D&D every night for, I think it was like a week to 2 weeks. Just to level up their characters.
I'm picturing like a Rocky-esque D&D training montage of guys like rolling dice.
Yeah, I would love as well if they were all spellcasters as well.
And that happens. No.
But that's the thing. That in itself is just it's, for a better phrase, it's a way that the people who bought into the event, they were determined that we were going to have a tier 4 table.
Yeah,
which is 17 to 20th, I think, in level terms. But the fact that they were like, no, we need to be the tier 4 table, and so they just kept going at it, and got their characters up to that level, which is fantastic.
So that's a nice tier 4 wizard you've got.
Yeah,
spells anymore.
Yeah.
Well, I'm rolling D4 to deal damage now.
But on the subject of RPGs, you do have one more announcement to make, don't you?
Do I? What one's that, Ben? What's that? It's not an RPG though, is it?
It's about a certain film.
Oh yeah. Well, to really explain this, I have to mention where I was in America, though, do I not?
We can skip over that part.
I think everyone in the crowd knows where you've been.
I'll come at it from a different direction, inshallah. Right. Okay. So there's a book that's been released recently called The Art and Arcana, which is a visual history of D&D. Which is fabulous. I've got a copy. It's a gorgeous book. You don't even need to be in D&D to like it. It's just full of fantastic artwork. Yeah. But when I was at Gen Con,
legend has it every time Dave mentions he was in Gen Con, a fairy dies,
and that's why we have no fairies anymore.
It's not involved in my garden anyway. But when I was there, I went to see a film called Eye of the Beholder, which is a film about the art history of D&D. And those who have known of D&D for many, many years, Eye of the Beholder is obviously the name of a computer game that was released many, many moons ago, which is set in Waterdeep, which is also one of the clues that was given at the Stream of Many Eyes for the Waterdeep heist scenario. I'm going off far too geeky now.
No, keep going. This is what we're all about.
But I saw the film there, and it's essentially, well, it's not even essentially, it is a lot of interviews. They had over 180 hours of interview footage when they were creating the film. It was funded through Kickstarter as well, so they had a great Kickstarter campaign. It went really well. I took the time to speak to one of the producers of the film while I was there, and then followed up when I came home to basically say, can we show the film? And the answer was yes, absolutely, of course you can show the film. So at some point, likely on the Saturday night, but the schedule will morph slightly, I'm sure. We're going to show Eye of the Beholder. I don't know what the final cut length will be. The showing I saw, I think it's about an hour and a half, so it might be slightly longer than that. But it's full of interviews with artists who have worked in D&D over the years, including people like Jeff Easley and Larry Elmore, and various others, and Ralph Horsley from the UK, who you guys have had on the podcast in the past. So one of the things that we were talking about when we were together in Glasgow a couple of weekends ago was looking at bookending that somehow with a seminar on art in the hobby. And we've got some ideas on how we form that and what sort of panel we can get for that. But just having the film, to me, just gives people another thing to consider to do, which maybe is giving attendees too much choice, because that was actually one of the bits of feedback we got. It was almost like too hard to choose what to go to. But better to have choice than no choice.
Too many nice things. Why can't I have them all?
Which is what happened to the guy that doesn't like Perth anymore. Right?
Yeah.
The rest of his feedback didn't have things like that in it. But yeah, I think I'm excited to have it. I mean, I was excited to see it because I've grown up with D&D, so it's kind of seeing the. In fact, one of the key bits in the film was they were talking about when TSR closed and the offices were being emptied. This was after Wizards of the Coast bought them, and they found in a skip outside the back of the building original copies of art from like first edition AD&D books and stuff like that. And it's just like, because the people who were emptying the building didn't know what it was.
Care.
or they didn't care. Yeah, exactly, because it was just a painting. But it's also interesting to kind of hear some of the little anecdotes about the art process, such as it was back then, which was basically just arguments between the artists and one-upmanship between the artists, which is great. And it's a really entertaining watch, but especially if you've got any interest in the art of D&D, but really just fantasy art in general.
My thought, and I think it's a great idea, having a film screening, particularly if it's later on in the day, after a hard days of gaming, nice to unwind and just relax a little and just soak something in. But my thought is we need to get one of you Tabletop Scotland guys to be dressed as one of the chaps in the cinemas and have like a tray of cornettos at the front.
Well, I think you know who I could volunteer for that, because it won't be me.
Probably John. He loves an opportunity to dress up, doesn't he?
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
John especially does.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
So plenty to look forward to for 2019, but we're just about out of time for this episode, but just please remind our listeners, where can they go find out more about Tabletop Scotland 2019?
Right, so the key place is the website, so www.tabletopscotland.co.uk. From there, you can get to our Facebook page, which is Tabletop Scotland. We also have a chat group, which is Tabletop Scotland 2019 chat on Facebook. We're on Twitter as Tabletop Scot, and we're on Instagram as Tabletop Scot. Key thing that I should also mention, because I haven't mentioned it, is that tickets don't go on sale until the 31st of January.
There we go.
We're sticking to the schedule we had, I was going to say this year. Where ticket sales will go on sale at the end of January, and the event booking will go live, I think it's the 24th of May. Now, we will be having a launch party. We haven't confirmed what that looks like yet, but we should have more information on that in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. If not, it'll be early January.
Good.
And we'll be there.
Well, I'd hope so.
Yeah. So, excellent. Well, look, Dave, thanks very much for coming on the show once again. No doubt we'll have you back on in the run-up to Tabletop Scotland 2019.
Absolutely.
But for those of you listening, thanks very much. You take care, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
We are Unlucky Frog Gaming, and I am Ben. Be sure to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. Just search for Unlucky Frog Gaming. You can also show your support by giving us money through the Unlucky Frog Patreon. And be sure to check out our website, unluckyfrog.com, to find out more.